And welcome everybody, Don Giannetti from lighting-essentials.com and project52prosystem.com. We're number 15 here in my series of what makes this photo great. And I will point out that I'm only choosing photographers that I absolutely love. There's a lot of great photographers out there who make a lot of great photographs. These are the pictures from the photographers that absolutely knocked me out as I was starting out my business and as I continue my business. We're doing people who are still around as well as some who have left us. Jeanloup Sieff is this week's photographer, and Jeanloup left us quite a while ago, too young. A great photographer, someone who changed, I think, a lot of people's view of the wide-angle lens, whether it could be used for people. I think his work was very discerning. I think you notice his work when you look at it, not only the way the black and white film is processed, how it's printed, the different structures within it, his use of leading lines, his use of the wide-angle lens, especially to create leading lines that are pretty amazing. First time I saw Jeanloup, his work was, I want to say 75, 76, something like that. He'd already been shooting for a number of years, but I wasn't aware of him. And then one day I picked up a fashion magazine, I think it was Harper's Bazaar, and there was this incredible photograph of, I believe it was Twiggy. And Twiggy was in some deep grass, some ferns, and it just was one of those shots that you kind of go, what in the world is this is going on here? This just doesn't look like any other fashion or advertising shot I'd seen. And I immediately had to go over and see Jeanloup Sieff. So I'm going to start out with a quote here from Jeanloup Sieff. All photography is a moment of oneself and others, of things and of the world. It is at one time and the same time the eternalizing of an emotion and its erosion. Taking photographs is a strange occupation, daring to want to stop time. Isn't that what we do? We stop time. Let's take a look at the first image here from Jeanloup Sieff, and you can see the use of the wide-angle lens. I mean, the wide-angle lens for a 35mm camera was relatively new at this time. We're dealing with distortion. Notice the elbow is about the same size as the head here, over here, and look at the feet. The feet are huge in comparison to the body. But Jeanloup had a way of working with these lenses that it doesn't look distorted. It feels right. It's just amazing. Look at the great tonal values here in the black and white printing. The complexity of the arms, the complexity of the legs crossed. It's pretty interesting photograph. This one was of course, another fashion shot done on the beach, and I was, it just like breaks all the rules, right? It's like, let's put the subject in the shadow and then have all this bright negative space out here, all lit up, bright and bold, and yet she's almost discernible here. I love the shadow going out because she's in the shadow of the palm tree. Taking all of that into consideration, it becomes an image that's really, really incredible. Just a lovely image. Here's Twiggy. Here's Twiggy in the ferns. Notice the use of the wide-angle lens. We're practically looking down on top of those ferns there. We're looking way up into the trees there. Twiggy's right in the middle of these ferns. This was a shot that I think the shot was printed in probably 40 different publications as one of his shots from his portfolio, whether it was an editorial for a camera magazine about his work. It was printed everywhere. It's just an incredible shot. I love the way the ferns wrap around her. Do you see that? These big ferns wrapping around her. She's kind of sitting into the ferns. The trees back here become just nothing but texture. It's just a big jumble of dark texture meant to lead our eyes back to here. And then Twiggy, with her leg and her boot there, brings us right up into the film, or into the frame. It's really, really nice. Great shot. One that I cut out and stuck on my bulletin board. It was on my bulletin board for 10 years. As was this one. How to use the world around you as a compositional element, and how to use light as a compositional element. Notice we have the young lady leaning here, but notice the incredible silhouette of her face and the fashion here in this smokestack or whatever this is. I don't remember where this was taken. I don't think it's important. It's a really cool location. But look how she nestles down into the corner. Have you noticed something so far about Jeanloup Sieff's work? Lots and lots of the environment in the work. Our young lady here is taking up about, I don't know, a fifth of the picture. Twiggy is definitely taking up like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She's got a little over a quarter of the image. This young lady is, probably an eighth of the image. Can you imagine doing this? This is in the early 60s. We're not seeing the dress even. We're not even seeing the length of the skirt. We're seeing really this incredible monument or whatever it is that she's leaning on. Another use of the wide angle lens that I thought was pretty spectacular was this image. This was a little later. This was towards the end of the 60s. And the rows and rows leading lines, bringing us in her legs stretching right up in there. Look at the distortion. It's huge. And it's this distortion leading us up into the picture that shows us. Now, this was something that Jeanloup Sieff did a lot. He would take furniture out into empty spaces, fields, deserts, beaches, empty rooms, take the chair, let the model or the subject work against the chair out there. This is a picture meant to challenge your brain in a way. Challenge what is she doing on a chair? Why is she out there in this field that looks like it's been plowed through? What's going on here? All this texture surrounding the very smooth skin and hair and the dress. This is all so deliberate. Use the texture to bring out the texture of the subject. He's done it before. Look at the smooth texture of this, and then the wild texture of the outfit that the model's wearing. The wardrobe is just, lots of contrast. We talked a little bit about leading lines at the beginning of this, and I remember this photograph just so vividly. It was in, I believe, Pop Photo, or one of those, maybe the French version of Pop Photo, and wow. This is the Louvre in Paris. Look at this reflecting pool. Got a little rock thrown into the middle of the reflecting pool there, giving us that. Did Jeanloup throw the rock? I don't know. But look, we got one person walking by, breaking the horizon line so it goes up into this triangle. Look at the incredible design, this triangle coming down, the larger triangle around it, the triangle of water inverted up to the triangle of the Louvre, these lines going out, that old staid building over here staying normal, I guess. It's just it pits this incredible architecture against this old building, the old Louvre in the back. Isn't this incredible? And I wonder if he did that. Some part of me says he did. Some part of me says I remember that he had an assistant or somebody throw the rock into the pool. He wanted to break up the water, but I can't remember, and I don't want to say it if I'm, just possibly a little bit wrong. Working in a location, he would look for nooks and crannies and corners, and I love this shot. Window light coming in, models right up against the corner. Look at the forced perspective of the wide angle lens, putting her face right in the middle of the shot, so she's not terribly distorted. Her legs are. This is pulled out. Look at this. We're looking practically right down on the top of the floor, and we're looking up at the ceiling. That is a wide angle lens. Notice the same thing here. We're looking down. We're looking, I mean, this is just below us, and that's all the way up there above us. Let's go back to Twiggy so you can see that as well. Right into here, down onto the surface. Right here now, he's tipping up. So her torso is here, but her legs are hidden behind here, possibly to hide some of the distortion. But I don't believe this is quite as long a lens as the other shots. I believe this is probably a 35, where the other ones are 28s or 24s or even 20s, I believe. He did a really amazing series of shots with the director Alfred Hitchcock. This is the house that was used for one of Hitchcock's movies, Psycho, I believe. It's the Psycho house. A fashion shoot with the model running through the woods around it. And he actually got this guy to look like Alfred Hitchcock, this actor, to look like Alfred Hitchcock chasing the model around. It was really, really kind of cool. This, again, won all kinds of acclaim. And look at the wide-angle lens, pushing the building back, bringing her forward. But look how so precisely he's located them within the frame that all we really see is a little distortion on her face and a little distortion as her hand comes forward. But it works in this instance. It works. It's just a really, really cool shot. Look how it works here to isolate the model, all the space around it. The use of that wide lens helps give him negative space around the talent that he's using. It's a tool. Without the wide angle lens, or say he had moved to a 50, we'd probably have something like that. Move to 100, we'd have something, even tighter on the frame, and we would have nothing of this texture or these rows or that mysterious dark background back there. It's just a masterful use of the tools. Jeanloup Sieff, one of France's greatest photographers and one of the 20th century's masters. I'm going to leave you with another quote from Jeanloup Sieff. The impulse that led you to make an image is a thing that you cannot share with anyone, even if you explain it. What remains is a surface that will live its own life, that will belong to everybody. I accept that surface. Hey, thanks for coming along on this little look at Jeanloup Sieff. There's a whole bunch of links down below to people who've dug deeper, etc. But my purpose isn't to deliver another deep dive into these photographers. It's just to introduce you to the images that I love, the images that helped me define my photography. And if you like the series, if you like what I'm doing here on my channel, hit subscribe. That's always a good thing to do. And on that note, I'll tell you what, folks, I'll see you later. See you next time.